This is Fat to Fierce. Welcome to the Confidence Chronicles. I'm your host, Amy English. Join me on this empowering adventure towards a healthier relationship with food, body, and self, one delicious bite at a time. Hey there. Welcome back to the Confidence Chronicles. Thank you for listening. If you're new to this podcast, I'm your host, Amy English. I'm a life coach for midlife women who want to break overeating cycles, build self-trust, and be free in their bodies. And I'm really glad that you're here today. So I've shared this story before, but I'm sharing it again today because every time I share it, a woman hears it differently. A woman hears it for the first time. A woman finally feels seen and realizes she's not alone. So in this episode, I'm revisiting my journey, how coaching helped me heal my relationship with food and body after decades of dieting, emotional eating, and shame. And I also want to talk about something that still shows up for me, and that is comparison. The moment when you see someone else's success, especially around weight loss, okay, and you feel that pit in your stomach, and there's that voice that says something like, why can't I do this? Or what's wrong with me? Okay. And just this past Saturday, I caught myself in it. All right. And as I've shared before, I've removed the social media apps from my phone. Okay. I can still get on them. I haven't deleted them, but I have to be more intentional about when and where I access them. Okay. And I had gone on to Facebook from my computer to visit one of the groups that I'm part of for school, right? It was the band parents page. And when I first got on to Facebook, a bunch of stuff is there in my timeline. And I had seen a post from somebody celebrating their weight loss. And that's when I felt it. It was that familiar ache, that familiar sinking feeling, right? I call it compare and despair, right? That's what it is. And it's sneaky, okay? It shows up fast. And for me, it feels like failure, okay? So I'm going to just kind of paint the picture and describe exactly what happened. So I get on Facebook. I'm on my computer, right? I get on Facebook. I'm going to a specific spot, but there's this post on my timeline and I see it and I'm excited for the person. And then all of a sudden I feel it, right? And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm still struggling. I'm still struggling with these pesky 20 pounds, right? Why has this been so hard for me? Why can't I do this? Like, what is wrong with me? What is going on? And even though I know there's a lot of things at play, I still found myself in this web, in this trap, right? This compare and despair. But even though I got there, even though I was in it for a split second, because again, it's quick, right? What was different this time, and this is the takeaway. Okay, this is what I want to share. What was different is that I caught myself in it. Before I got too swept up, okay? I caught myself. I paused, all right? The practice of the pause is so powerful, not just when it comes to food, okay? With anything. So I caught it, I paused, and I said to myself, whoa, hold on a second. Stop. What are you doing? What are we doing here? And in that split second, also, this is happening very fast, okay? But in that split second, I reminded myself, Amy, we can be happy for them and not make it mean anything about our journey, right? This is me talking to me, okay? I can be happy for them and not make it mean anything about me, right? Their journey has nothing to do with mine, okay? And so when I was able to pause and remind myself of that, first of all, that felt so much better, right? Like, oh, hold on a second. We don't have to do this. We don't have to go here. I don't have to go here right now. I don't have to make this mean anything about me. And so what I did, and this was probably the biggest game changer. Okay, yeah, pausing is important, reminding myself these are two totally different journeys. Mine has nothing to do with theirs and vice versa. But here's the magic, okay? I started thinking about what I'm proud of on my own journey. Okay? So like saw their post, like happy for them, that's awesome. And also because I noticed that comparison trap kind of happening and I paused myself and I stopped and I like pulled myself out of it, I then went on to think about what I'm proud of on my personal journey. This was so important. Okay. I reminded myself that I don't stress eat anymore. I don't binge. And this was big for me. Okay. I have maintained an almost 100-pound weight loss, even with the 20 menopause pounds. Okay. So I'm still so far from my heaviest weight of all time. I needed to remind myself of that. Okay. Especially with this specific example, right? Because it's so easy to get caught into why isn't this working for me? What's wrong with me? What is going on? Is there a bigger problem with my body? Like all the stuff, right? Which just makes me feel worse and kind of like digs me into that hole of despair, which is not helpful ever. Okay. And it's easy to see how easily it can happen. All right. So yeah. So this was huge. It was healing. Like when I was able to kind of reflect on my wins, okay, that helped me get further from that comparison trap. All right. Where I could still see their success and be happy for them and not make it mean anything about me. Right. And I also reminded myself of this. I don't have to be in the negative spiral anymore. I get to choose a different story. I get to choose a different way of being, right? And that is powerful when you realize, like, listen, that comparison trap thing happens so quickly. You almost don't catch the fact that you're choosing that at that moment. It just kind of so easily happens. So to be able to pause, stop yourself, see it, recognize it, and then choose something different is incredibly powerful. Okay. And just a reminder of, I guess, like how powerful we are to be able to choose that. Okay. But it does take being intentional and it does take awareness, really paying attention to yourself and noticing what you may be getting swept up in. And so that was early on Saturday. And we had a marching competition on Saturday. So here's what's funny. Okay. So that same day, a few hours later, I was sitting in the stadium watching some of the shows of the marching band competition, right? And I was sitting right in front of students from a different high school. They had already performed and they were also watching the show. And one of the kids behind me kept commenting about how good another band was. Okay. So I could hear them because they were talking, right? And he kept saying, I want to be on their band. I want to be a part of this band. Wow, this band's incredible. We're not that good. I want to be on this band, right? And of course, I'm sitting there like, oh, why does he feel that way? Right? Like they were good. And then his buddy, without missing a beat, said this. Okay, these are high school kids, all right? His buddy said, dude, comparison is the thief of joy. I wanted to turn around and high five him. I mean, yes, like that's it. That is the whole thing. Even teenagers get it. Okay. I actually felt really proud. Like when I heard him say that, I was like, yes. And what's interesting is I did not hear the other kid say again how he wished to be in another band. So I thought that was pretty cool. And that's exactly what I remembered on Saturday when I caught myself in the spiral on Facebook, right? I don't have to go there anymore. I can choose pride. I can choose peace. I can choose me, right? Because listen, when we compare, we lose sight of our own growth, our own magic, and our own joy. Like, there's no benefit to it. Like, I'm going to invite you to think about this right now. What is the benefit of comparing yourself, no matter what it is? It could be music, it could be weight, it could be business success, it could be kids, it could be anything. Okay? It could be your house, whatever, wherever you live, right? Your dwelling. What is the benefit of comparing yourself with somebody else in any of the areas? Can you think of one helpful benefit of comparing your situation with somebody else who's not you? I'll wait. Not really, because then this would just be like a blank podcast. But seriously though, I cannot right now in this moment think of any helpful, positive, good feeling benefit to doing that. And yet so many of us are caught up in that. And social media is a breeding ground for compare and despair. And listen, I don't think social media is evil. I really don't. I think that there are definite benefits to being connected with people, right? I think there's benefits to being connected with the school and activities and things like that. For me, it's been really nice and it's been helpful. Social media has been a great way for me to meet new clients, right? Especially in the beginning of my coaching career. It's changed over the years, but in the very beginning, it's kind of how I got started, especially on Facebook, right? So there are definitely a lot of pros to social media. So I don't think it's a terrible thing. I just think we have to be mindful about our consumption of it and aware of how it's leaving us feeling. And when you're watching someone or watching something and it is leaving you with that sinking feeling and that pit of despair, it may not be the most beneficial thing for you to be spending your precious time on. And that's another thing, okay? Speaking of social media, not only is compare and despair not beneficial and not helpful, there was a documentary I had watched a few years ago about social media and the whole like our time, our time and attention that we give to it and how that has been that's the most valuable piece, right? And so I really want to be very mindful about how much of that I'm giving away, right? Because that's what those apps and platforms are trying to get. So anyway, let me not get on that rant, okay? I came here to talk about compare and despair and a refresh, revisiting my story. And so anyway, so very powerful to be able to have that awareness, be able to practice the pause in that moment, right? And make a choice. make an empowering, helpful, beneficial choice to reframe that script, that story for myself, right? And then also to hear the same example just a few hours later at a marching band competition. I mean, how crazy is that, right? Anyway, what I want to say is this didn't happen overnight, right? It's taken me a long time to get here, to get where I'm at today, right? And to be able to notice this stuff and use that awareness. And as a refresh, like when we're going to go into, my story of dieting and all the things, I started dieting around age 11, okay? My body was bullied, mocked, and labeled from a very early age. Like, I could not walk out of my house without being a target because there was a group of kids in my neighborhood who used to call me Miss Piggy and Orca the Whale. Okay. So I can clearly remember stepping out of my childhood home and receiving, the comments and the name calling, getting made fun of. All right. So from an early age, the body was a target. All right. And dieting, losing weight was the solution. Even though it really wasn't, but this is what we think, right? Well, I'll just lose weight and then they're not going to make fun of me anymore. I'll just lose weight and then my body will be better. I won't be a target anymore. And so it's such a young age to be dieting and to be restricting food, whether I was restricting it or those around me were restricting me from it, right? Food, that's where the toxic relationship with food was formed, okay? Because food became both my comfort and my punishment, all right? And since that time, I have done probably every diet under the sun. I mean, you name it, I've tried it, okay? And I even lost 100 pounds back in 2013, right? And then 2 weeks later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I gained 30 pounds back in a month, in that first month of my diagnosis, right? Because I was stress eating a lot and drinking a lot. That moment, that time showed me how fragile control really is. And then in 2015, I hired my first life coach. Because the whole reason I hired my first life coach is because I was trying to figure out my next career move, right? I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grow up, right? But what I found through coaching was something so much deeper. Coaching helped me understand how I operate, okay? Speaking of awareness, right? It helped me understand how I hold myself back and how much of my life had been shaped by shame, specifically around my body and weight, right? Trying to fix it, trying not to be seen, trying to hide myself and not get the insults and everything hurled at me, right? So after working with my first life coach and having the amazing experience that I had and starting to feel so much better about myself, reclaim some of that confidence, right? Start learning how to listen to my body, all that good stuff. I decided that this is what I want to do. I had such a powerful, empowering experience working with my first life coach that it was my very last session with her when I said, "Oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be when I grow up." Because I want to help other people experience what I have just experienced over these last several months, right? Because I worked with her for like a multi-month program. And so I trained with Martha Beck and then later with Susan Hyatt in her Bear program. I started healing my emotional eating patterns, rebuilding self-trust, and learning to love my body, not just tolerate it, right? And what's interesting still to this day is that I didn't go into coaching planning to specialize in this work, what I do today. It happened organically. The work I was doing for myself became the work I was called to do for others. And so now here I am. I coach women in perimenopause and menopause because this season brings its own challenges, right? Hormonal shifts, emotional ups and downs, and decades of diet culture collide, right? But here's the thing, it can also be a time of deep empowerment. When you feel safe in your body and free around food, everything changes. Y'all, my clients often say working with me feels like talking to a dear friend who knows just when to gently nudge. We talk about deeply personal things, patterns they have struggled with for decades. And I create a space that's warm, safe, and judgment free. That's important. This is such a heavy topic because people have struggled with it for decades, right? Food, body image, comparison, all the stuff. Okay. So, because we do talk about things that are so deeply personal and that people have been struggling with for such a long time, it is so important to make sure that the space is safe and judgment free. And also, we got to have a little fun, okay? Because this is some heavy shit. So it is also important to make time to celebrate, laugh a little. I like to weave in different stories, as we're coaching and working together. So fun is also a big part of it too. You've got to have some fun in this stuff, otherwise it's just going to feel too like wah wah. So I like to have fun. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why so many of my clients have described working with me like talking to a good friend, because so many of them say that. Like, I just feel like I'm talking to a good friend. Like, we just meet every week, like we're meeting for coffee. And that's similar to what I want to do with this podcast too, right? Like, make it seem like we're just at coffee, like having a chit chat. So that's important, simply because the stuff that we're uncovering and unraveling is, deep. It's deep. It's patterns and behaviors that have been with us for decades. And so it's really important to make sure that we can lighten the mood when needed, right? And mix a little fun into there along with the heavy stuff. So that's just how I like to roll. And to me, it is like such an incredible compliment that people feel like they are coming to talk with a good friend, as we work on this stuff, right? Because that's just a testament to creating a safe space, right? So that's just been really, really important to me. It's probably one of the greatest compliments I've ever received. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's awesome to see when my clients like realize they haven't binged in 6 months and they have like such an amazing relationship with food and their body after working together. But to hear that it feels like they're just coming to talk to a trusted friend, like, damn, that feels good. All right. Back to the whole point. All right. Comparison is a thief. It steals your peace, your progress, and your power. Okay. And it's everywhere, especially for women in midlife. Oh, let's not even bring in the aging piece. Okay. We're not even going to go there today. We'll be here for another hour. All right. But we are bombarded with images, advice, and expectations. We're told to shrink, to fix, to hustle. And when we don't measure up, we feel broken. But here is the truth. You're not broken. You're becoming. Your journey is yours. Your pace is yours. Your healing is yours. And always remember this, especially when it comes to compare and despair, okay? What you're seeing from somebody else's page, somebody else's journey, is what they want you to see, okay? You're seeing their highlight reel. You're not seeing what goes on behind the scenes. You're not seeing the moments they feel in despair. And I'm not trying to take away, when I say that, I'm not trying to take away from the success that people do share, because I think that's important too. Where I'm coming at this, the angle I'm coming at this from is that we can't take that, what they're sharing, and use it as a way to attack ourselves. That's what I was saying earlier. There's no benefit to it. I mean, I don't know if you think of a benefit to doing that, please share it. I don't think there is one. There's no benefit to doing that. Okay. Remember, it's the highlight reel. Every journey is different. Everybody's experiences are different. Okay. And that's important to remember too, especially when we're looking at any kind of success. Okay. You have no idea what people have gone through, what tools they have at their disposal, things like that, right? It's not a fair comparison to compare yourself to somebody else. And here's the thing. If you've been stuck in that spiral, comparing and despairing, wondering what's wrong with you, I really want you to hear this, okay? You are not broken. And you are definitely not alone. I mean, hello, I just shared a story about what happened last Saturday. But I caught myself, and that's what makes this one different, right? I have definitely been there, okay? I get it. And I can help you move past it, okay? Just know this. I offer a free 60-minute connection call, okay? Where we explore what's been keeping you stuck, what you most want for yourself, and whether coaching is the next step for you, like it was for me back in 2015, 10 years ago. Wild, right? You deserve peace with food. You deserve to trust yourself again, okay? Tune out all the noise. Start listening to yourself and your intuition. Heck, it was my intuition that suggested I take a break from social media, right? And you deserve to feel free in your body, free from the judgment, the criticism, the shame, free to wear the clothes you want to wear, to show up exactly as you are today, to be free in your body, simply because it is yours. All right. So yeah, you want to explore what coaching looks like, what it can mean to work one-on-one? Reach out, book a call, go to my website, amyenglishcc.com. I would love to chat with you, whether or not you decide to do this work. Okay. It's always nice to chat with new people. So there you go. I hope that this has been helpful. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great week. Bye. Remember, you have the power to break overeating cycles, build self-trust, and be free in your body. If you're ready for support, book a complimentary connection call at amyenglishcc.com.